Still on our series on circulatory system. So quickly, we're going to be looking at, on checkpoint key stage 3 biology past papers. Today we're going to be looking at the circulatory system. So quickly, let's just go through a series of past papers or questions that have been coming out in circulatory system over the years. So first, here I have blood is pumped to and from parts of the body. Which two of these are correct for blood flow from the pump? Now the pump here is the heart. So that means which two of these corrects the flow of blood? So blood is either pumped from the heart to the lungs, where it will now get oxygenated, or from the heart to other part of the body, to the body. So here we look at from heart to lungs and from heart to the body. That's all. Sorry. The next question is, let's scroll down so fast. The next question is, name two substances that the blood carries to be used by the cell in the body. Now, two major substances that the blood carries to be used by the cell in the body are either food, that's nutrient, or the oxygen. These are substances that are carried by the blood to be used by cells in the body. Now, name one substance carried by the blood to the lungs so it can be removed from the body. That is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is a waste that is being removed from the body through the lungs. Now, question number 2 is, they said, Perry and Urey investigate how exercise changes their pulse rate. How exercise changes their pulse rate. Now, what equipment will they use to measure their pulse rate? Is this? That's the first equipment there. It's the one that will be used. Now, which unit is a correct measurement of pulse rate? Now, pulse rate is measured in beats per minute. So, pulse rate is measured in beats per minute. Okay. Next is, Perry run for 1 minute. Complete a sentence using one of these words. Perry think his pulse rate will increase when he runs. What statement is the sentence above? Circle it. Now, this is a prediction until after he's done, before it can now become a result or a conclusion. Now, Perry run for 1 minute again. He runs for 1 minute again. Why is it good? It's a good idea to repeat measurement. Is to make the results reliable. That is why we repeat measurements, to make results reliable. So next is, Liz measure her pulse rate. Now, if you measure her pulse rate, the pulse rate is how many times per minute the heart beats. Now, the picture shows how she measures her pulse rate using her wrist. Now, they said she counts the number of beats in 10 seconds, and multiply the result by 6 to get the pulse rate. So the number of beats times 6 will give you the pulse rate. She record the result in the table. She repeats this for 5 more pulses. So what do you think would be filling this space? So here will be 11 times 6, which will give you 66. Then the second one will be 10 times 6, which will give you 60. This will also be 60. Yes, 11 times 6, which will give you 66. 9 times 6 in this case will give you 54. 54, and 9 times 6 again is 54. That's all for your 2 marks. Now they said, what is Lee's average mean pulse? So her average mean pulse to be calculated will be will be the total pulse divided by the number of beats. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it will be 66 plus 60 plus 60 plus 66 plus 54 plus 54 all together divide by 6. And if you do that correctly, your answer will be 60. Next, what measuring instrument does she need for this investigation? She needs a stopwatch to measure the time. She needs a stopwatch. Now, the next question is, Lee's pulse rate is not the same for all the measurement. Why not? Tick the boxes. Everybody heartbeat is always the same. That is absolutely correct. Sometimes your blood flow backward. Absolutely. Sorry, this is incorrect. That I said absolutely correct. This is also incorrect. Now, further, everybody pulse rate varies even when you are sitting down. That's the answer. The next question. Peter and Anya investigate how pulse rate changes with exercise. They decide to use the following method. Measure and record Anya's pulse rate at rest. Exercise for half minute. Measure and record the pulse rate again. Wait for her pulse rate to go back to normal. Now they do the same exercise for 1 minute. Measure and record her pulse rate. Wait and measure and record, and this were the result. So the result was 60, 100, 130, and 50. So we have 60, 100, 130, and 50. So 60, 100, 130, 150. So here, they want us to plot a graph of this result. So at normal pulse rate, it was 60. At half a minute, it was 100. At 1 minute, it is 130. So I have 120, 140, so 130. At 1.5 minutes, it is 150. So 160, yes, 150. So all I need to do is draw a line. And I'm done with that. 2 marks. So why do they wait? Why do they wait for Anya pulse rate to go back to normal before she does more exercise? Why would they wait for it to go back to normal before they do more exercise? So that we have same starting point or now same starting point, or to make it a fair test. F-I, how do I spell fair again? To make it a fair test. F-A-I-R, sorry. To make it a fair test. Now, the units for pulse rate on the table are missing. What is pulse rate measured? Is measured in beats per minute. Pulse rate is measured in beats per minute. Now, what organ of the body is responsible for pulse rate? Is the heart. Now, complete the sentence to write a conclusion for this investigation. The dash 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 Anya exercise, the more or the longer. The more Anya exercise, the faster her pulse rate. Now, the picture shows different size of the heart. Now, which picture shows the correct size of an adult human heart? That's C, the same size with your palm. Now, complete this sentence. The heart pumps dash 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 around the body, pumps blood around the body. The heart makes sure that oxygen taken in by the dash 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 gets to the brain. Oxygen taken in by the lungs gets to the brain. And the heart is an organ made from muscular tissue, cardiac muscle. So the heart is an organ that is made from muscles. Now, they said the diagram shows part of the circulatory system. Part of the circulatory system. So, name the types of the blood vessel label X and label Y. Now, if you look at this, you find out that X is carrying the blood. Look at the arrows here moving in this direction. That means blood is flowing into the heart. So, X is a vein, while Y takes blood away from the heart to the rest of the body. So, it's an artery. So, this is vein, this is artery. Now, name the organ where gaseous exchange takes place. So, gaseous exchange takes place in the lungs. So, now we have a question. Now, let's see. Usman trains for 1 minute. Sorry, I need to pause this now. Okay, first, Usman trained to run a 1 kilometer race. He measures his heart rate while running. Now here is his result. Now the question is, plot the result for heart rate on the grid below. Now 4 of the points have been plotted for you. Label both axes and draw a smooth curve through the points. So let's see. First, label both axes. Usually this is sorry. Usually this is supposed to be X and this is the Y axis. So if that, so let's see how we can, sorry about that, let's see how we can write that out. So the X axis will now be time in minutes, because this value here always represents your X axis. So the value here represent the X axis. Why is my pen giving me issue? Okay, this is the X and this is the Y axis. Sorry about that. My pen is just, no problem. I think it's working now. So my X axis will be time in minutes. So time in minutes, while my Y axis will be heart rate in beats per minute. So you just come here, you write time in minutes, and here is my heart rate in beats. Always remember to include your units, heart rate in beats per minute. Now the rest, then they said 4 has been plotted for me, so I need to plot the others. So let me see which has been plotted for me. So I have 8, 7, 6, 5. So 4 has not been plotted, and the value for 4 there is 175. I have the value for 4 is equal to 175. For 3 it is 160. I don't have value for 2, which is empty. Then my 1 is 120, and 90 is 0. 0 is 90, sorry. So let me plot this on my graph now. So for 4, it is 175. So for 4, this is 160 to 180. So 175 be within this range. Then for 3 is 160. For 3, I have 160. For 2, there is no value. But I have for 1, which is 120. And I have for 0, which is 90. Now I'm meant to join this stuff using a smooth curve. Now that will give me my mark. Sorry, all points supposed to be on the line. So let me value here to 160. The 2 I have value for 2. This is 160. Sorry. Now, so I think I've answered this question, which is a formal question, and is there anything attached to it? The back both as it, so we're done. Now they said use your graph to predict Usman heart rate at 2 minutes. So at 2 minutes, where does it touch the line? At 2 minutes, this is where it is. So you take your reading here. This is at 2 minutes. So this is 140. Half years will be 150. So this should be around 145. 145. Now explain why Usman heart rate increased during exercise. Explain why Usman heart rate increases during exercise. So the answer is to pump blood containing more oxygen to muscle cells. Containing oxygen and nutrients to muscle cells. Which is required to respire to produce energy for exercise. Exercise. That's it. So sorry for time wastage there. It's one of those things. Now the diagram shows the human circulatory system. Now 4 figures labeled, 4 organs are labeled A, B, C, and D. Organ A here is the lungs. Organ B is the liver. C is the intestine. D is your kidney. So let's see which question will be asked. Now they say name A. A is the lungs. B is the liver. C is your intestine. And D is kidney. Now, some substances leave the blood, and other substances enter the blood when it travels through an organ. Now, complete the table by writing the letter of the organ in the correct boxes. Now, how the blood changes as it passes through the organ, and the letter, the concentration of nutrients increases. So if the concentration of nutrients increases, that's the letter should be that is found inside the intestine. And which letter is that? Let me see. That's letter C, because digested food are absorbed into the intestine, and the concentration of carbon dioxide decrease and the concentration of oxygen increase. That will be the lungs, A, because that is the point of gas exchange. Yeah. Still on circulatory system. Come. Okay, now Jamila uses an exercise bicycle to improve her fitness. She uses an exercise bicycle to improve her fitness. So Jamila uses an exercise bicycle to improve her fitness. She measures her power and heart rate as she cycles. Write down one other piece of data she needs to measure her fitness. So one other piece of data Jamila needs, is it Jamila? Yes, Jamila needs to measure her fitness is, first you need to look at her breathing rate. Another thing she can measure is the distance covered. So now, the next question is, read Jamila note carefully. I started with gentle exercise and measure my heart rate in beats per minute. My power was 70 watts and my heart rate was 80. I paddled faster. My heart rate reached 100 and my power went to 120. When my heart rate was 170, when my power was 170, my heart rate was 120. And I paddled harder up to 220 watts and my heart rate was 140. When I walk my hardest, the reading were 270 watts and 160 beats per minute. Draw a table to show Jamila's result. Now, Jamila's result, we have two columns there. We have power in watts, and we also have her heart rate in beats per minute. In beats per minute. So, we draw two columns. Her power is, she had power for 70, 120, 70, 120. She also had power for 170, 220, 220, and 270. And the heartbeat for 70 was 80, 100, 120, 140, and 160 respectively. So as her heart power increases, her heart rate beats per minute also increases. Now, I have a question here which states that Sophia uses a microscope to study a sample of blood from a healthy person. Now look at the view from the microscope. Write down the function of cell A. Cell A here is a red blood cell, RBCs, and the function is to transport oxygen. Now, the next question is, Sophia then studies a blood sample from someone recovering from an infection. Now, this blood sample looks different to the sample from a healthy person. Now, describe how the blood sample from a person recovering from an infection looks different. Now, the reason is there will be increase in white blood cells. Now, reason because white blood cells help to fight infections and kill pathogens. White blood cells helps to kill pathogens. and fight infections. That's all. Now, blood cells are transported in a liquid. Write down the name of this liquid. It's called the plasma. Now, write down one other function of this liquid. It helps to transport carbon dioxide. It helps to transport nutrients. It helps to transport hormones. It helps to transport enzymes around the body. Okay, I think that's the whole question I need to look at from this section. So, thank you.